Well, this winter came and lasted too long. Though, winters was always destructive to humans, but this one is exception, where it came and injured many animals. Wild animals, birds of fish, which for some bizarre reason ended up frozen in the ice. For some this may seem a bit scary. Animals can't save themselves from this harsh winters. So here are top 10 unbelievable animals frozen in time. Before we begin, make sure you hit that subscribe button to get notified every day for more amazing content. The frozen fox. In January 2017, a hunter in Germany named Franz Tehel was hunting near the Chile Danube, and he saw a block of ice containing a frozen fox. According to Tehel, the animal fell into the water where it drowned, and then it froze to death. It didn't take long before the water froze around the fox. According to Tehel, it isn't unusual for animals to break through the frozen surface in the winter. He says that he has also seen a wild boar and a deer that were frozen. Today, the frozen fox is on display outside his family's hotel in Fridingen. The fox is simply not lucky, and that it fell into this trap itself, and that no humans had anything to do with this. No matter how it was, we feel very sorry for this creature. Frozen fish. This unusual sight was registered by the brothers Anton and Alexei Babbage during some winter fishing on Lake Wawasee in the US state of Indiana. The guys found a pike that was frozen in the ice with a fish in its teeth. Can you believe it? But first they just took a picture of the fish and posted this online. However, the puzzled internet experts did not believe the brothers and claimed that the image was photoshopped, and the fishermen went back to the lake, found these fish again, and with a chain saw cut out the piece of ice with them in it. They also recorded a video of the whole process, so there would be no doubt left of the authenticity of the material. However, it is still unclear how the pike managed to freeze with a prey in its mouth. We can only imagine what happened there. Frozen donkeys. A 54-year-old photographer named Sven Nordrum was out skating on Lake Bundingsvän, which is located right outside of Oslo. When she saw the frozen herd of donkeys, she called a rescue team to come out and do something. The donkeys had been left unattended in an area that was experiencing the harshest, coldest winters on record. When the rescue team arrived, some of them were frozen, but they were still alive. The team took the donkeys and brought them to an animal shelter so that they could be warmed up, stabilized, fed, and treated by a veterinarian. The frozen frog. This poor creature was photographed in the middle of a frozen Norwegian lake. Someone was skating in the area and noticed the frozen animal and just couldn't pass it by. The reason of why a frog was in the middle of the lake remains a mystery, but a version says that it might have been heading for its last pairing. But this was in the middle of the winter when all the other frogs are hibernating. However, it seems to us that things here are not so tragic as it may look like. As you probably know, these cold-blooded animals do not die from freezing. So the little frog has every chance to come back to life and be just fine. That is, of course, if no compassionate Norwegians tried to dig it out to the ice and accidentally break it or something. Bull moose frozen in battle. In 2016, a hiker named Brad Webster and his friends were hiking near a village on the west coast of Alaska when they made a shocking discovery. They found two bull moose who were in mid-battle, frozen and unlikely along the Bering Sea. They could tell that they were in the middle of a battle because their antlers were locked together. When they were discovered, mating season had just ended, which led the men to believe that they were either fighting over a female or territory. The animals must have fallen in the water after one was wounded, and since their antlers were locked, they drowned in the frigid water together. When the water froze over, so did most of the moose. Frozen horses. What you're about to see now is really impressive. Once some policemen in Kazakhstan made an insane find in a lake located 12 kilometers from the village of Shudati. Through the layer of ice of the lake, many frozen horses could be seen. The workers of a local collective farm would usually let the herd of horses graze freely. No one followed them closely because everyone knew that the animals would tame and always return to the pen unharmed. The one day something went wrong and the horses didn't return home. At first the local authorities suggested that Olaf's could have simply been stolen to be sold, but the reason behind the disappearance of the 42 horses was found almost 6 months later in the spring, during a routine inspection of the surrounding area. The police noticed the horses frozen to death in the ice-cold water. Seems to us that this is a very eerie and even a mystical sight. What do you think about this? The frozen coyote. This amazing photo was taken by Sabine Kanian. This is exactly how the photographer found the coyote. He was sitting up, frozen solid on the side of the road. According to Kanian, the picture was taken in 2008, which happened to be one of the coldest winters on record. During that winter, the temperature dropped to -22 degrees. This was more than cold enough for this poor animal to freeze. Frozen seagull. On February the 7th, 2013, water police officers of the port city of Duisburg in Germany were patrolling on a boat when they noticed a motionless seagull sitting on an ice floe. When the ship came closer to the piece of ice, the seagull clearly became agitated. But it didn't fly away, which seemed very strange to the policemen. When they took a closer look, they realized that the lower part of the body of the gull and the tips of its wings were frozen. There was nothing to do but come to the rescue of the poor creature. The patrol has cut off a small piece of the ice floe where the bird was and headed to the workshop for the maintenance of ships. There they started to warm up the seagull. After a few hours the ice melted and the bird was set free. They then fed it and even called a vet. This is one of those interesting cases where the attention and compassion of humans save for life of a small creature. Frozen lions. With Russia being as large as half a continent and half of it being covered in Arctic ice, it's no wonder that many of these discoveries are found there. This time, scientists uncovered 2 Eurasian lion cubs deep in the Yakutia Republic in Siberia, Russia. The lion cubs were twins and sadly died at a very young age. But it was probably not due to freezing, but some sort of cave collapse. And it is a miracle that most of their bodies are intact. They lived more than 20,000 years ago, at a time when, probably, Siberia was a bit warmer. The Eurasian lion was a fearsome beast, and was the largest lion in existence. Scientists speculate that it was feeding on deer, horses, and even men. But for some reason, they got extinct. Thanks to these specimens, one day we might learn more. Frozen cat. This sad story took place in the Russian town of Slitsow. Somehow the cat could be miraculously saved after being a victim of an ice trap. The animal was discovered by a couple in the first hours of the day under a car near one of the houses. As soon as they noticed the poor creature, they immediately launched a rescue operation. It took several buckets of hot water to release the cast. The animal could not move its paws and cried very loudly. Fortunately, the rescuers did everything possible and the animal was released. But you're probably worried about the health of the cats after this, aren't you? Everything turned out to be as good as possible. The animal started walking that same evening and 3 days later he found a new home. If you like my video, don't forget like and subscribe my channel. Let us comments below.